Welcome back to beautiful Lillehammer in Norway. What a fabulous Sunday afternoon we have for the last day of this first week of sliding here in the 1994 Winter Olympic venue. Will it be coming back? God, that would be good, wouldn't it? Just sow those seeds. 20 sleds from 13 nations go into our second and deciding heat of the four-man European Championships. Not all of them Europeans, of course. We have USA, Canada, China and others represented, but it is all about those medals. And in the top three for the first time this season is Switzerland's Mickey Vogt, lying in third place after the first heat, just 400s ahead of Great Britain's Brad Hall, winner last time out in St. He's only 300s behind Johannes Lochner, who lies in the silver medal position. Hansi is already a four-time European champion in four-man, ties the record held by Andre Lange. If he can pull off victory here against Francesco Friedrich, he will be the most successful European bobsleigh champion in history. And Francesco Friedrich, last year's four-man winner, looking for gold again after winning in the two-man yesterday. But Johannes Lochner beat him here last season. Will he do it again? There's only a tenth of a second between them. Mind you, there was only 800s in the two-man race, and France won that going away. Well, all that will be at the end of our run as we decide where the medals go. Looks like Adam Moore, Patrick Baumgartner are out of the reckoning, unless there are some massive dramas. We've got very tight racing right behind, with just 100th between several groups of sleds. And as we get further down, a tie for 14, Robin Heinrich and Taylor Austin tied together. Lee Johnson from Trinidad and Tobago. Little chat with Francesco Friedrich. Axel Brown didn't make it through into the second heat. Lee Johnson coaching the team, former British Olympian. And France, as so often, with Johannes Lochner close by. There's Mickey Vogt and Adam Moore. Moore lying in fifth position at the moment. With his shadow behind him, Johannes Lochner. Yeah, it's all high intensity, high pressure stuff. And do you know what, genuinely, even in the Olympic Games where they're not on track competing, the feeling is the same. They are all having fun doing what they love. And that's the unifying bond. There is nothing between them, personally, that they can't leave on the ice. Francesco Friedrich, the leader, then he will go last in our second and deciding heat. And for the European athletes, European Championship honours up for grabs as well. So here we go into the 20, getting race 6 of the four-man World Cup underway. Martin Krantz, Maro Bula, Lawrence Lenher, his two-man brakeman, and David Schurfen. 20th place after the first heat. Short start here, you've got to get in fast and get settled. 5:28, 5:27 in the first heat. We were within a tenth of a second of the start record in the first heat. We were not too far away from the track record in the first heat either, 2 tenths away. I think both of those set last year by Francesco Friedrich's crew will remain intact. Little late flop early on, and another. Again with a fresh spritz, very different track from the one that Martin Krantz had after 19 four-man had been down it. It's had the Zamboni on, not that there is a Zamboni, but that's the effect of the spritz of the ice. 50.97 run, they came down 51.06 in the first heat. So 900s quicker. But, yeah, finalist sled coming onto the corners quicker than he had anticipated, I think. Shaking his head there, there weren't major dramas, but all these little errors just irritate the driver when he just miscalculates these things. 12 down into 13, tail of the sled sliding away on the exit of 12. And out of 13, trying to keep it straight up to 14. It's a right-hander, so you ideally want to be under the camera here, not facing the wrong direction. All right, but it's a top 20 finish, and he made the cut this time. He missed it in the last 2 races. Next up, Li Chunjian of China. Wei Ping, Xie Yaolong, and Wu Paolin are the crew. Started 19th fastest in the first heat, 5:16. Ended up 19th at the bottom. So that's pretty much par. Martin Krantz of Liechtenstein actually had the slowest start. Trinidad and Tobago outstarted him, but Axel Brown from Trinidad couldn't quite hold the speed all the way down. 4 to 5, that tap on the left, everybody takes. That's pretty standard stuff, as long as you don't skid out of 5 into 6, because then you'll be late coming out and into the labyrinth. Little tap into 9. 10 and 11, the 2 lefts, then corner 12. That feeds you very quickly down into 13. It's a tight corner for the 4-man. Out of 14, onto corner 15. Some very quick transitions down at the bottom here. They're doing 125 kilometers an hour. It's not the 150 Ks that you see in St. Moritz, but it is quick enough. In fact, they're doing 134 at the bottom. So they're touching 90 miles an hour. Well, not a bad looking run from Lee. Lots to work on. But isn't that always the case? So, not looking overjoyed, but there is another week here with which he can fine up his act, and so too for everybody else. Next up, Adam Baird with Jens Huller, Luca Williams, and Ollie Butterworth joining him on the sled. 12th fastest start, but the speed ebbed away down the track. So Adam Baird needs to try and keep that speed on board. In and down. Takes a while for Ollie Butterworth to squeeze those enormous shoulders down inside the cowling. And actually, as they get down into turn 1, being cautious about that is not a bad thing at all. 2300s up, out to 3/10 an advantage. He had 1400s from the first heat. This is where the speed started to go away in the first heat. Still 3/10 in front. Not the newest of sleds, but he's still hanging on there. Second best speed, still nearly 3/10 up on Lee. That's a good run. 2500's the advantage. 50.81. 50.83 for Adam Baird in the first heat. I think he'll be a little happier with that. Still a bit of rock and rolling. Again, there's a lot of mass in the back of the sled. With the driver, there's probably 400 kilos of occupant in the sled. More than that. And not all of that 400 is Ollie Butterworth, incidentally, although he's quite substantial. Next up is Boris Vian of Monaco. And in the gap, found out exactly what the name of the sled is. It means go on, or queue on, in Monegasque. He did pronounce it for me, but I shan't attempt to replicate that. I was doing other things and have immediately forgotten exactly how it's said. The French would be on y va or allez, but it's the equivalent, but in Monegasque, which is a thing, and who knew? Because every time I go to Monaco, and it's not often, but they do tend to speak French to you. Yeah. So Boris Vian, Cyril Ferry, Arthur Prévost and Steven Borges. In and down, neat load, 5:16 getaway. 5:14 in the first heat. 600s ahead of Adam Baird, but the British crew outstarted them by 8. So he's going to have to drive himself into the lead here. In green numbers. Oh, big skids though through the labyrinth. Again, Boris came late in the draw. Same as all the guys around him, the ones that we've seen so far. So the track may be running even more smoothly than they thought, but good at the bottom, 50.70. 700s quicker than his first heat, so he opens up his advantage from 8 to 1700s of a second, or 6 to 1700s. A couple of big skids coming down through the labyrinth. It's just so abusive to your speed. Not too bad. 10 to 11 and then on to 12. But the labyrinth is very tricky, looks so straightforward. That puts pressure on Mihai Tentea, the remaining with just 200ths of a second in hand. Constantin Tănescu, Mihai Pacianu, Gheorghe, the crew in and down, 5:12, so open up their advantage from 2 to 600ths of a second over Boris Vian early on. Half of that gap remains down to 300ths, but better speed than we've seen from anybody so far, and a need to run through the labyrinth that will multiply that speed a little, or should do. So he should come back, still best speed, 125 Ks. Second best speed. This is going to be to the 100th. He's not there, is he? No, he's not. 200ths back. They were 400ths of a second slower than Monaco on that run. That is half the time it takes to blink your eye. This is just insanely close, and we're not even halfway to the top 10 yet. Not bad, 12 to 13. Got sort of straight as he came on. Came off sort of straight as well. And these are things that slow-mo cameras show you that you'd never see with the naked eye. Go whoosh, straight by you and gone. Taylor Austin of Canada is next up as Boris Vian leads for Monaco. 600ths of a second in hand. Not much, is it? Canadian teammates watching the action. Always good to see, especially when they don't have to bug out and head to the next track. 5:21, fifth fastest start so far. They had a 5:12 in the first heat, which is much more representative. Taylor Austin's pretty decent four-man driver. He's had some good results in the Big Banger. It's slipping 1100ths back 200s first to second, 1700s second to third. Now can he turn that around? Best speed, but the gap is surely too large. It's coming down to 600s. Oh, tied for second at the line. Monaco move up again. Dead heat for second with Mihai Tentea of Romania. Well, you hate to lose a spot, but at least it was 1 and not 2, or as it looked like midway through the run, 3. First time here for all the Canadian drivers, apart from Cynthia Appiah, who raced here last year. Erica Vos, Melissa Lott-Holtz in the women's race had not been here before. Pat Norton, Taylor Austin have not been here before either. So they're learning, they'll be quicker next week, they'll have more knowledge. So too will Roman Heinrich, well, so too will everybody. He's got Leon Lefebvre and Dorian Otteville from the old team, and that fresh young face in the middle, Niels Pleurant, sprinter from Grenoble, hometown of Roman Heinrich, and the venue for the 2030 Winter Games. Well, he'll be 40 then. Dodo will be 39. Lionel the same. Will they all still be together? Maybe not the 2-man, but the 4-man. You can bet that they're already making that 5-year plan. 5:07 getaway. Well, they're not far away at the moment, are they? They're nearly in the top 10, and they've only been back racing for a few months. And the boys, although they have healthy lifestyles, have not been in bobsleigh training for 2 full seasons. And once they start acquiring the kit, more runners, getting the sled the way they want it, then they will start to make that progress. 2100s up. Good-looking drive from Roman Heinrich. 3 Olympics, 2 as a driver, 4 World Championships. And aiming for more. He'll go to his 5th Worlds in Lake Placid. He'll desperately try and qualify for Milan Cortina, and certainly then for Grenoble. Little late height. Rescues it there, and then 13, 14. Again, like so many, Mateo driving the sled in all the wrong direction. On to 14. It's not an easy take on a 4-man, is it? So, the French take the lead from the Monegasques. Mixed emotions for the coaches who are coaching both, but at least we have a Franco-Monegasque 1-2 after the first 7 sleds. Next up, Latvia. At least the coaches will be united in jubilation if the Latvians drop back a couple of spots. Let's see what Jacob's calendar can produce. Started 5:01, this crew, 4th fastest in the business. Nice load, 5:02, and they carried good momentum as well. Although Timo from Swiss Timing is going to have to get onto this because his transponder still not giving us the live speeds. I don't know if the Latvians have some sort of blocking software in it. Brand new sled without a hole for the antenna, because that's not something that a drill can fix in 5 seconds. Anyway, 200s up from 1200s at the start. They've slipped behind Heinrich, but it's a big 4/10 gap back to Boris Van. It was a really good run from Roman Heinrich. He may be in the leader's box a while. Get those boys some jackets. Well, empirically not a bad run, 50.54, 1/10 of a second quicker than his first heat for Jacob's calendar, but a 50.33 for Roman Heinrich. compared to 50.71 in the first heat. And a 50.33 would have been good enough for 7th in the first heat for the Frenchman, not where he was, which was 14th. So Calendar slips 1, but is ahead of Boris Vain. "22-year-old Jacobs Calendar." That's Miknes in the sled with him. Next up, Pat Norton for Canada, with Mike Eveling and Shaq Murray-Lawrence, and new kid on the block this season, Keaton Bruggeling. Mike Eveling, Shaq Murray-Lawrence, both brought in by Chris Spring when the Springer retired, although he's still driving taxi bobs. Pat Norton taking them on. 5:06, good strong start as well. 5:09 in the first heat. That's top 10 starting. 12th place after the first heat. Holding on to 900s ahead of Roman Heinrich. But he needs to come down 3/10 quicker as well. 500s is the margin. Second best speed. Well, Heinrichs didn't register. Fastest speed we have is from fellow Canadian Taylor Austin. Behind at the line, 3rd place, slips behind Jacobs Calendar. Well, the French boys are out in a very cold afternoon in the shade. They're not standing in the bright sunshine as you'd find at the finish block in St. Moritz. Somebody definitely needs to get them some warm clothing from the down bag. Paul, if you're listening, that'll be your job. I think the Canadians can floor manage themselves. Decent looking run. Pat Norton slips a couple though, down to 3rd place with 11 to go, but for a first outing on the track, no worse than 14th for him, no worse than 16th for Taylor Austin, with no prior knowledge of this place. Same story really for Kim Jin-soo, coming in new to driving in the World Cup this season. 6th place finish, 9th place finish in Eagles, his best so far this year. Lying in 11th place. 10th is 100th away, 9th is 1100ths away, 8th is 1200ths away. It's a tight little group as well. 5:04, just 100 slower than their first run. They had 1300s in hand after the first heat over Roman Heinrich. Just creeping away, started a little faster than the French crew. Still building that advantage. I think their former coach, Goma Lloyd, would have liked Kim Jin-soo a lot. He drives beautifully. Holding that advantage, still over 0.2 of a second, and best speed at the line, 2800s, 50.18. That is 0.4 quicker than his first heat. So a big improvement from Kim trumps a big improvement from Roman Heinrich. Kim Jin-soo takes the lead. And we have 10 sleds to go. 9th place, his best result in a World Cup race to date in the 4-man in only 5 previous outings. And he might be on target to aim for at least another one of those. It will be no worse than 11th. But there are some tight battles in front, and a 0.4 of a second improvement. You can't argue with that. This kid learns fast. So Kim Jin-soo, the leader from Roman Heinrich and Jacobs Calendar, with Pat Norton, Boris Vain and Taylor Austin making up the rest of the top 6. 10 down, 10 to go. And a reminder that this is not the last of the action from Lillehammer. It is for this weekend, but the teams stay here. Hey, the French with jackets, apart from Dorian. Yeah, Dorian is hard as nails. That's the Monegasques with the jackets. Do the French not have a down bag? Did Roman really sell everything? Do they not have warm coats? They're just hard as nails, aren't they? Well, there is Kim Jin-soo on the left and his crew. And what a great view that is. Now, see, why is the ski piste sunny and yet the bobsleigh track is in shade? Well, this is historically the way they were made. When tracks were natural tracks, they were built on the northern side of a mountain, the bit that's almost always in shade. Because you built on the southern side, it melts the snow away and the track disappears. So the ski piste is on the southern side, so you can ski in the sunshine, but you tend to try and build your bobsleigh sliding track on the shady side, on the northern slope of a mountain. Do you think that? Desperately embarrassed that the camera is right in the ear roll. So that's the history of it, and so as you can see, for a lot of the day the track is in shadow. Well, there is Familia Italia out to come and watch Patrick Baumgartner, his mum, his dad and the rest of the family and friends. Great to see so many family and friends here. You don't automatically think, yeah, I'll go to Norway, but it is easy to get. Oslo's a major European capital, easy to get to. Very straightforward drive up to Lillehammer, and a beautiful place to come and stay. And I hope they went to the opening ceremony, because that was absolutely spectacular, even more so than last year's. 10 down, 10 to go. Race 6 of the IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Cup. Lots of teammates lining the fence for Frank Del Duca, Carsten Vissering, Charlie Volker and Maneo Mitchell as the USA get underway. 100th ahead of our current leader, Kim Jin-soo of Korea, from the first heat. And Kim laid down a run that was a full 4 tenths quicker than his first. So there's the challenge for Frank Del Duca. To stay where he is, he's got to be 4 tenths of a second better. Well, they have a slender lead from the start. Another great getaway, 4:98. Only 3 crews were sub-5, and they were one of them. Just behind Kim. Needs to try and find more speed. Less steering. More freedom for the sled, but across the line, 50.46. It's a decent improvement. It's an 1100th of his second improvement, but it's not enough when the man who's just gone by you was 4 tenths quicker. And 50.18, by the way, is the 5th fastest run of the entire four-man competition. So Kim would have been 5th in the first heat with that time, and with a 50.46, Frank would have been 8th. So Kim Jin-soo, the leader, with 9 to go. And that's the entry into 13 for Frank Del Duca. No wonder he had to hoik it round. I mean, it looks like you're on and off in a heartbeat in slow motion. Imagine what it feels like when you're trying to drive it. The sled's going sideways, and there's no time to think in the corner. You've got a steer going on, and it's got to be right. Sun Kai-chi, Ding Song, Ye Jilong and An Tai together for China. 9th after the first heat, 100th out of 8th. And they have just 1100ths in hand over Kim Jin-soo. This is pressure for the next few sleds. Kim's second heat was an absolute flyer, 5:02. They've outstarted Kim by a couple of hundreds. So the lead is out to 1300ths, but immediately starts to come back through 4 and 5. 1200ths as they get to corner 6. Ooh, sliding around in a labyrinth, tapping and skidding. It's going to cost him. 10-11, 11-12, not too bad. 8th best speed, slipping down the order. Frank Del Duca, 2700s behind Kim at the moment. 3200s back, yeah, drops 2 spots. So Kim matches his World Cup best performance. He will be no worse than 9th. Frank Del Duca gets a top 10. And Sun Kai-chi drops, in fact, to 4th place behind Robin Heinrich. See the way the sled is rolling around, picking up runners. And that's all energy that's pushing you in the wrong direction. And the brakeman has got lost. Are we there yet, Dad? No, we're not. So that actually was Ye Jie Long at 3. The driver sees that now. What are you doing? What are you doing? Wait for the driver to shout. It's so straightforward. The driver's the one who can see where they go. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox before it collapses again under my weight. Cedric Follador, Nicola Mariani, Luca Rolli and Kata Juillard for Switzerland. 10th best start, 8th at the bottom. And his advantage a further 100, so 1200s ahead of Kim Jin-soo. But again, really in the firing line. 5:09 they start, 200 slower, so they lose 5 of those 1200s to Kim. 700s up. Little tap 4 to 5, 200s up. And that extra start speed of Kim and the Korean crew giving them that early advantage. He's behind, 3rd best speed, and it's an untidy entry into the labyrinth as well. Gap's going to grow. 2nd best speed, trying to turn it around. 800s back, gap's growing. 2nd best speed, Kim was the fastest at the bottom and drops to 2nd place, 50.44. Now that wasn't actually a bad drive at all, but not an improvement. Well, 200s, so effectively not an improvement. Lots of cowbell for the Swiss, which is exactly what you want. Notice the coach is not bothering to go down and get the stairs. There's 4 big tough boys, they can push it up. Again, back of the sled doing a lot of steering here, coming round on the turns. He's trying to hold the nose on line. The back is swinging around behind you. It's like driving a truck and a trailer on ice. Not that I've done that, but I can imagine. There's a lot going on behind the driver. So Cedric Follador slips into 2nd place with 7 to go. It will be a top 10 finish for him. But Kim now having his best World Cup result. So Kim Jin-soo, previous best, was 9th place, and he is now the leader with 7 to go. So can this Swiss sled put him back in the box? Well, Timo Rona was not as fast as Kim in the first heat, so he's going to have to go considerably quicker than he managed last time just to stay in front. 5:12 getaway, they lose another couple of hundreds at the start. 1100s up. This might be where Kim comes to a juddering halt. .300ths of a second. He's going back, skidding down through the labyrinth. Speed is not there. 2nd fastest. Kim was quicker. Gap's going to open up. Even if he's got top speed numbers now, it might not be enough, and he doesn't. The gap will open up to the line. Kim Jin-soo has the lead with 6 to go. Think they're loving life? I think they are. Now, one of the things that I didn't look at before the race, and I'm sure you did, but I didn't, was what the best Korean bobsleigh four-man result was in the last few years. Well, for Kim Jin-soo, certainly it was 9th place in Innsbruck a couple of races ago. He will now be no worse than 7th. So we're into uncharted personal best territory. And Timo Rona, again, empirically, not a bad run. But Kim just found something very special, or lived even further out on the edge than everybody else in that second heat. Now, this is going to be a bit of a different challenge for 6th place. Patrick Baumgartner, 3,400s in front, with Eric Fantazzini, Rob Messia and Lorenzo Bellotti. But Kim improved by 4/10. So if he's more than 500 slower than his first heat, Patrick Baumgartner, and most drivers have been right about where their first heat was at best, then he'll lose a spot as well. The top 6 is up for grabs. 5:04 starts the same as the Koreans, so his lead remains 2,400s, 3,400s. Let's chart this on the way down. 3,500s at the 4-5 split. Best speed for Baumgartner. Decent run into the labyrinth, 3,300s up. That should be enough, unless he has a chaotic 10, 11, 12, 13. And that's pretty clean. 2,600s up. I don't think his run is going to be as fast. It's the 3rd best speed, but he has the lead at the line by 1,600s. So it will be a top 6 for Baumgartner. And there's the family. Well, Baumgartner tied for 5th last year. He leads with 5 to go. It could happen again. He got on hard there, didn't he? Watch the sled. Up and haul it off. The moment he starts to touch the corner almost, he's hauling it off. And then comes under the camera nicely for 14. Manu Mahata's been driving today, driving the Allianz safety sled again. Looks good in dark blue lycra. Not latex, lycra. Okay. Lots of German athletes now yelling for Adam Amor, Nick Stadelman, Benedikt Hertel and Issam Amor. 8th place last year, 5th place this year in the first heat. 100th in hand, 300s in hand, I beg your pardon, over Patrick Baumgartner. Can't read my own writing. And a faster start, 5 dead. They found an extra 400s and they may need it. 2,600s off the lead, 1,300s out of any medal. Adam Amor. 4th best speed. Not as quick as Baumgartner. Not as quick as Kim. Not as quick as Rona or Follador. 3rd best speed. Holding a lead. Building the lead across the line. 1,700s up, 50.22. So Baumgartner will be no worse than 6th, no worse than 5th, Adam Amor. A 3-place improvement on his first World Cup here last year. Finished in 4th place in the 2-man yesterday. Race was won by Francesco Friedrich, of course. And again, that 12-13 transition, so problematic. So Adam Amor leads for Germany. There he is. Next up, Brad Hall for Great Britain. 2 wins this season, a silver and a bronze, and a 5th place finish at the opener in Altenburg. Taylor Lawrence, Aaron Gulliver, Leon Greenwood on the sled. So can he find what he needs to break into the medals? Just 400s out of bronze. It's going to have to be a good drive because Mickey Vogt's first run looked gorgeous. In and down, 5 flat. 5:03 in the first heat, so they too have found a little more at the start. Cut his finger when the push bar collapsed in the first heat of the two-man yesterday. When I say cut, I mean yikes. 102.2, best speed. Not a bad-looking labyrinth either from Brad Hall. Driving away from Adam Moore from 900s to 2600s. This is a real shout for the medals. 126.5, best speed we've seen. Quicker than Kim Jin-soo. Quicker again than Kim. Fastest towards the line. Great run from Brad Hall. 49.93. Quicker than his first heat, quicker than Mickey Vogt's first heat, quicker than Hansi Lochner's first heat, quicker than Francesco Friedrich's first heat. Fastest trip down today. 5 dead start. Only 2 sleds have gone under, only 3 now with Frank Del Duca's crew. 3 sleds have gone under 5 seconds. That's a 5 flat. Good work from the crew at the start and a beautiful drive from Brad Hall. He is on fire in the 4-man this year. He's not having a bad time in the 2-man either. Right, now he's got to watch. Is that enough for a medal? He was 400s off bronze, 700s off silver, 1700s off the lead. Mickey Vogt looking for the first medal of the season. We have an issue with the timing eyes, so there will be a slight delay. 5th in Winterberg, 4th in the first visit to St. Moritz, 7th place then in Innsbruck, and 8th in his second 4-man race in St. Moritz 2 weeks ago. All right, looks like it's fixed. Thumbs up from Peter Fischer. So the boys are back out. In, out. Here we go, just double checking that locking mechanism. So, handles in place. This is for a medal. Career high in a 4-man has been bronze medal for Mickey Vogt. And this will be a chance for another personal best. Raced here last year to joint 5th place with Patrick Baumgartner. Baumgartner currently in 3rd. And Vogt with just 2 more sleds waiting to follow him down. Are we ready or are we not ready? That's what Chris Woolley is thinking at the front. My boys are standing out here, losing heat rapidly from their muscles, and that's a factor in terms of performance and also potentially in terms of injury. Now the clock starts. Right. A delay again. This is not from the race jury, this is from the track. All right, so we continue to have a timing issue, we understand. And without timing, then there is definitely no point in the sled going anywhere, but that means the boys are going back into the changing room. That also means that Hansi Lochner and Francesco Friedrich's crews will be delayed a little as well. Team Hall. Yeah. Needs to get to the door, and who among us hasn't? Then you'll know what that feels like. Yeah, you did. All the boys busy, and Brad trying to make it look like a still. Ian Richardson in the black coat from the BBSA. Familiar name, Graham Richardson's brother, Big Bro. He was part of the organising committee for British Bobsleigh and Skeleton Association. Long-time bobsledder. Captain of his golf club as well. Can you believe? As if he's got time. Well, there's a view of the transport. Sleds come off the dock onto the back of the trailers and get driven up to the top, or in this case, back down to wherever they're being stored. But between heats, they go back up to the top on the back of a truck or a trailer. Usually, there'll be a tractor pulling a trailer or something like that. When we get to Lake Placid, they have purpose-made trucks. A number of the tracks do have purpose-made trucks. And so, for the third time of asking, we will try and do this. Only 3 sleds remain. And Chris Woolley just, okay, not a drama, been here before, know what we're doing. And Mickey Vogt will be absolutely on board with that, running through it all in his head, going through the same routines every time. Check the bar, double check, just a little wipe of the cowling. Check that the D-ring's in the right place, because you don't want to get them crossed over, because we know what happens then. You turn right, sled turns left. And it's all very well saying, well, then you just swap your hands on the D-rings so that your right hand is holding the left ring and the left hand is holding the right ring, and then you're still pulling with the same arm, but then your brain is double cross-wired. And yeah. And so that's why drivers check these things. A number of drivers do have different coloured tape on one side and the other, so they know at a glance that the right D-ring is on the right side. Here we go then, 3 to go in Lillehammer. This for a medal. This for a personal best for Mickey Vogt, Greg James, Andy Haas and Amadou Ndiaye. Greg Jones and Andy Haas in their 25th 4-man World Cup starts. Mickey Vogt, 5th place last year, race number 43. He finished 5th in the 2-man yesterday. Can he take a European medal? $800's up on Brad Hall. This is going to be very tight indeed. Hall had the best speed and Vogt can't match it. Out of 13, it's pretty clean. 400s, 4th best speed. He's level, he's gonna be behind. No, it's a dead heat. They both get a medal. They will both get a medal. They will both get a European Championship medal as well. Big weekend in Lillehammer for Brad Hall. 2-man bronze, 4-man bronze. And for Mickey Vogt, who was 5th yesterday in the 2-man, it is a bronze medal as well. Ooh. That looked like Amadou Ndiaye, who was on the back handle, says, twisted his ankle a little, but really good start from the Swiss. 498 after all that coming and going at the start. Even more fired up to take that medal. And they and Brad Hall's crew will be in the leaders' box with 2 to go. Both German. Johannes Lochner, last year's 4-man winner, with Florian Bauer, Jörn Wenzel and Georg Fleischauer behind him. I beg your pardon, last year's silver medalist. He was the 2-man winner last year. 492, 500s quicker. They started 497 in the first heat. Wow. Really taking it to Francesco Friedrich, who started 493 in the first heat. They know what the other has done, and they will target it. Best speed, 2/10 up on our current leaders. He only had 300s on Mickey Vogt from the first heat. Best speed again. It's wild from Hansi, but it's fast. 2100s up. Is this enough to take the win to become European champion? 49.80. A quarter of a second faster. A 92 start and a 49.80. Quicker than his first run, quicker than Friedrich's first run by 1500s. 600ths off the track record. And it could have been faster. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Big effort from Johannes Lochner. Friedrich will respond in kind. Matthias Sommer, Alex Schuller, Felix Straub and Francesco Friedrich will target first the start record, which is 487. They started 493. 491. They add another 100 to their advantage over Hansi's crew. The record will have to wait for the World Championships maybe in 2 years' time. 1100s up. It's a 10th. Hansi drove so well. France is going to really have to excel here. 800s up. Little uncomfortable again. 6-7 into the labyrinth. He talked about it yesterday. 400s up. He has got to be flawless. 10, 11, 12, 13. Good exit out of 13. It's even Stevens. Is this going to be a tie for gold as well? He's not got the speed. He's gone behind. It's gold for Lochner. A 5-time European champion. An all-time record.
At
91 500s behind. Well, the boys got the start, but they didn't get the gold. Matthias Sommer closest to us. Tall figure of Alex Schuller and Felix Straub. Again, 6-7 was awkward. 10, 11, 12, 13. Not great either. Backing it in to 13 was the nail in the coffin. Didn't find the speed after that to respond to Johannes Lochner. So Hansi on the right. The boys with the gold. 492 start, 49.80. They found 500s at the start, but it was Hansi's drive. He improved by a quarter of a second. Only one other driver improved by more in the entire race. That was worthy of gold. That was worthy of a European Championship record. So, closing the gap fractionally on Francesco in the hunt for the Crystal Globe. Johannes Lochner claims victory here, his first in Lillehammer and his first this season in the four-man. Francesco Friedrich second, Mickey Vogt and Brad Hall tie for third. So they both get the medals and the European honours. And there is the rest of our finishing order. Well, what a great way to finish the first of 2 weekends here in Lillehammer. Cannot wait already to see the sleds in action again next week. Great effort from the crew. Florian Bauer at 2, young Jörn Wenzel at 3 and big Georg Fleischauer at 4. Taking it all the way to Francesco Friedrich's crew at the start. And Hansi driving himself into European Championship gold for the 5th time in his career in the four-man. And that is a new record for European Championship four-man bobsleigh. Previously tied on 4, and now Francesco Friedrich and Brad Hall and Johannes Lochner, they are the top 3, distancing themselves a little from Adam Amor. Hansi closing the gap a little. It's going to be a fascinating final weekend with the 2-man and 4-man crystal globes up for grabs. So it could be a few more changes around as well. Poor Marcus Treichel with that injury, plummeting down the order from the top 4, where he was early in the season after a really stellar year of performances. And the European Championship, well, pretty simple to decide, because the top non-European sled was Kim Jin-soo of Korea in 7th. So the bronze going jointly to Brad Hall and Mickey Vogt, the silver to Francesco Friedrich, and the gold to Johannes Lochner. So congratulations to all of our medal winners this weekend. It's been a busy 3 days. No skeleton next week, so bobsleigh starts on Saturday morning, 0900 local, 0800 GMT. And that means, yes, 0300 again if you're on the East Coast. Wherever you are, thank you for being with us this weekend. The men and women bobsleighers will be back in action in Lillehammer next week. We'll see you then. Until then, from everybody in Lillehammer, it's me, Martin Hagen, saying thank you for being with us and bye for now. We'll see you on Saturday next week. Jenny, hey.